we're gonna dive into some stuff, and we're gonna have a discussion about some things, and we're gonna try to do it in a tactful way. This is what I want to do about this stuff. And by now, most of you probably have seen the Elasmat Rise of the Dungeoneer documentary. However you feel about that, whatever side you fall on that, I don't really personally care. But one thing I've seen is there has been a division for a while, and you can blame whoever you want for that division. Most people have just taken a side right now and dug into that side. And I've said this before, it's a lot like politics, where you pick the side and then you just believe what everybody says, no matter what. Nobody's ever checking anything, nobody's ever referencing anything. They're just taking what you say as gospel, no matter what. Nothing ever gets fixed, no problems ever get solved, and it's just people going after people. That's just what we live in today. That's just social media right there. Mickey, who I follow here on X, don't agree with everything she says, but I did see this, and it made me think a little bit. And she said, I don't care whose side you're on, CG, Dungeon, Anti-CG, War Campaign, Iron Age, Fellowship. I have no idea what some of these names are. Fellowship, 199, I have no idea what that is. Rippaverse. What I see is bad for everyone's business, and you can see it in the money. People are closing their wallets, watching and sharing less, partly economy and partly our bickering. So the point of that is, like, I understand that, and that's probably true, but we have become so tribal in this crowdfunding space. So this CG as a whole has become so tribal. Now, some people have left CG. Some people, for whatever reasons they have, and I'm really trying to be vague here because I'm not taking a particular side or trying to point out any particular situations here. But you do see the effect. Because when I came into CG in 2020, I think, is when I officially became CG. I was flirting with CG for a while. I liked it, but I was keeping my distance, just seeing what it was about. I started making friends like Rick Saylor in the chat, and going on some shows, having some CG people on our shows, and it just kind of became one of these things. It was a great community. I discovered people, comic book creators, fans. It just seemed like that's where the energy was at. And at the time, there was still this big pushback against the SJWs and in the mainstream and all that. And it was like there was a lot of religious and political alignments that I could find with a lot of people within the CG community. I was like, this is a perfect place to be. And once people started saying they're not coming on my show anymore because I had too many CG people on, I was like, all right, well, fuck it. Here's the little thing about me, guys. When people try to tell me not to do something or push back on me doing something, it makes me want to do it even more. So it has the opposite effect, because I hate being told what to do or what not to do. I hate it. So when I was told that I couldn't have CG people on if these people wanted to come out, or if I still wanted these people to be on the show, I was like, well, fuck it. Then let's go full bore. Let's be CG. Like, why are we holding back? So Sean and I made the decision. We went CG, and I've been there since 6 years. Man, wow, that's crazy. Time flies. Now, I know they said there's always been fighting with CG going back to its inception, way before I was around. I talked to some people who've been here from the beginning, or very close to the beginning. There was a whole war campaign stuff, and that fell through, and there was a big divorce with that. So I understand these things happen. CG splits, it fractures. When I came in, there was a lot of pockets. There's a lot of different pockets. I remember people, when they were telling me to promote, they're like, you got to go this pocket over here, you got to go this click over here, this click over there. So CG was already together, but it already had a community of clicks. And then that fractured for various reasons, and everybody knows the reasons. I don't really care, but my point is, there's a noticeable thing here with what Mickey said. People are closing their wallets because people are deciding to vote with their money, which is fine. That's your right. It's your money. You back who you want to back. You back the products you want to back. And I full-heartedly endorse that. And spend the money on what you want to spend. But the thing I see is, a lot of the stuff is, you expect some of this stuff to, after a little while. It's been 3 years since the Dungeoneers, right? And before that, I started seeing the cracks happening with the Kickstarter stuff. There was a big pushback on the Kickstarter when some of the bigger guys, it seemed like they didn't want people to do the Kickstarter. And it seemed like there was a misunderstanding. I mean, people have come out and cleared stuff up, and even Ethan and John keep saying, if you want to do Kickstarter, you do Kickstarter. They're just not going to promote you, which is their right on their show. I can promote or not promote anybody I want on this show because it's my show, so nobody gets to tell me what I can do or not do on my show. So I understand where they're coming from on that. At first, I didn't like that at first, because I was like, man, I feel like if I want to break out and do other things, I feel like I can't. I'm not going to have the support. And the more I think about it, they were in their rights to do that. So it's not a big deal to me. But there were cracks that started with that. Go back a little farther. I started hearing the whispers of smaller creators, and I consider myself a small creator as well. Don't get me wrong. Don't get it fooled. Just because I'm on the Kings, I don't consider myself as a big creator. But a while ago, let's just say 2022, even when Reaper Destroyer is launching, or had launched, there were people coming on and complaining that they weren't getting enough backing or enough support and enough push from the bigger guys. And I remember at that point, and if you guys go back to the show, I know Sean and I streamed this once, and we had a show specifically talking about this, saying like, there is nobody that owes you a spot on their show. It doesn't matter if they're bigger or smaller. Nobody owes you promotion, and I feel like at that point I saw with certain people, and I'm not going to throw names out there, but I did see with certain people that it was almost like a sense of entitlement, because we were all part of this. We were all part of this CG movement, that they just expected they were going to have access to Ethan, John, Shane, all these places, without actually kind of maybe earning it, And so I saw people kind of getting upset about that. Like, they're not pushing us enough. They're not helping out the smaller guys, this or that. And I pushed back on that initially, because I was like, you got to find a way to earn your keep. Any place, anything you do, whether it's work, communities, you got to earn your place in that community. Nothing's going to be handed to you, and it shouldn't be handed to you. We should all have to work as hard as we can to put out quality products. And the facts are, most of the stuff out there, most of the indie books are not quality. They just aren't, because there's a lot of amateurs like me. Don't get mad at it. I'm just giving my opinion out there, guys. There's a lot of amateurs, and I put myself in that category as well, that are doing this for the first time, right? So you don't necessarily know exactly what you were doing. You're trying to catch up to the guys that have been doing it for a while, and maybe you stub your toe, you trip, you fall, maybe your book's not well written, you don't know how to hire artists, your campaigns fail, and you got to find a source to blame. And a lot of times you blame the people that are successful, because this is what we do in life, right? Poor people don't like rich people, because I think that they should be there. It doesn't matter if those rich people have worked very hard to get to where they're at. That poor person or less fortunate feel entitled to have that. It's just a natural human motion, human thing that we go through. So I can see a lot of different sides of the entire thing. I can step back, and what I try to do without bias of the situation, I try not to be on a particular side. Yes, I know I'm a king. I'm on CG Kings, and some people got rubbed the wrong way about that. But I truly do try to step back and look at things as a whole and just see what's going on. And I will tell you, the only reason why this beef is happening is probably because, or continuing to happen right now, is because of pride. Nobody wants to be the man or the bigger man, the bigger person, to say like, you know what, let's put this aside. Let's squash this beef. And let's just get back to square one. Let's get the community back together strong, and let's start doing stuff again with each other, and like stronger going forward. What happens is people get offended for whatever reason, and then somebody gets offended on their behalf, and so on and so forth. And then there's these loyalty tests and all the stuff that happens. And now you're starting to judge people on who they stream with, who they talk to, who they hang out with. And that is the biggest thing I think has torn CG apart more than anything. Yeah, you can have your drama, but drama happens all the time. Mean things get said all the time to people, but the digging in to your position, and like the wanting to, most of this stuff is not that important, guys. We're making comic books. We're providing entertainment. We're all grown ass adults for the most part. I know there's some younger people out there, maybe in the early 20s or whatever. For the most part, we're all grown ass men and women. We can have disagreements. We can have fights. We can have arguments. They're all very public because we all stream, and obviously we have DMs and stuff. And the problem with a lot of these things is when you get hurt as a person, and this is just life. This is just facts. When you get hurt, your pride is hurt, you're embarrassed, or maybe you feel like you're being made fun of, all this kind of stuff. You are going to try to lash out in the way that you think is going to hurt that other person the most, right? So you're going to say the most vile things or the most insulting things, because we all have the ability to do that because we're on computers and nobody has to face these people in real life. You know, there are people that have said stuff to me, mostly it's war campaign people. That it's just been, I laugh at most of this stuff. But people say that shit to me in real life, it's a different thing. Like I look at this screen right now. I see chat out there, and I look in X and I see words being written. Shit doesn't affect me because whatever. Most of the time, you're not man enough to say that to me in real life, right? But if you did, it'd be a little bit of different outcome. But on computers, on my phone, I just look at it, I'm laughing, like whatever. That just shows you like you have to try to find the best way to hurt somebody else. And that's why all these mean things get thrown around. And then somebody's like, oh, did you see what so-and-so said about this person? Like, oh, I can't believe they said that. Like, oh, do you support this? I hate that shit more than anything. I've gotten some messages before in the past, some DMs and stuff like, do you support this? Can you really support this? I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Honestly, most people should be able to handle their own stuff. If I don't personally have a problem with anybody, then that's what it is. I'm not going to get dragged into other people's dramas because people are fighting. And trust me, I have people, the Dungeoneers, so to speak. And I'll be honest, I haven't watched the entire documentary because it's hard for me to get through 3 fucking hours of this shit. And the voices are annoying as shit. It's just, I didn't care enough about it. But I'm just like, these are specific issues between specific people. Why do I have to care about it? But unfortunately, we live in a day and age where social media, this is more like it's more like a club than anything, right? And we splinter off into our own little clubs. And if you're part of this club, you can't be part of that club, or we have to have beef with this club or that club, or blah, blah, blah. And then we all jump in. It's very war campaign. Like when somebody makes a post, 3 or 4 different people jump in and they have to attack that person. It's just, it doesn't make sense to me. It's rage for rage's sake. It's never going to get anything better. And I have to sit here and think like these people don't want this to get better. Let's take the Lazmat documentary here for a second, and I'll get to you guys chatting here. So I just got to finish this thought. The Lazmat documentary is horrible on a lot of reasons. It's really bad, and I'm going to tell you why it's bad. And some people will be like, oh, I see people trying to, like, they're all excited because, like, oh, this is bringing down the Kings. This is bringing down CG or whatever. The reason why this is bad is it serves nobody. This documentary serves no one. It does no positive thing for anyone. The Dungeoneer stuff, support, not support, whatever you stand, I don't care, happened 3 fucking years ago. To recently, nobody's talking about it. Nobody was talking about it. Yeah, there's still jokes made at people's expenses. That's going to happen. You rub people the wrong way. You have some arguments. You beef with somebody. That's fair game. All right. You're going to say some stuff about people. You're going to joke around at their expense. It's still going to happen. But nobody was talking about this Dungeoneer stuff anymore. It was going away. People were moving on. A lot of the creators that were involved were doing their own thing. And that was good. But now, because of this documentary, it's all being brought right back up. We're right back in 2023 again, and all it's going to do is cause EFAPs of EFAPs of EFAPs of EFAPs. And now people are going to be attacking each other again, digging in, taking sides. And what did it do? For everybody knows the story about the Dungeoneers. There was tons of live videos, live streams, DM drops, people talking about it from all different sides. I think we all know the story by now. So this documentary coming out does nothing to help anything. It just brings everything back up again. And it's for what? For what reason? Think about this for a second. I don't think any of the Dungeoneers have had anything to do with that documentary. I don't think it benefited them. And if you notice, there were probably some smart people that weren't involved in it. I'm sure they were probably asked and they declined because they didn't want anything to do with it. I'm assuming, this is me spitballing here, but they're doing their own thing. Like, why would I want to talk about this? Why would I want this brought back up again? And when I've been working to just get away from it, because whatever you do, if you don't want to be CG anymore, don't be CG. If you want to be CG, cool. Just move on and do your own thing. But this documentary has just brought back all those feelings, And now everybody's going to be talking about it. Everybody's going to start fighting again. And I don't see it benefiting anything, just making things worse, more dug in and stuff. And there's nothing good that can come of that. So to me, it was a miss. It was a big miss. It should never have been done. Nobody called for it. Nobody wanted it. And the people that did participate in it, who wanted to be a figurehead of it and do interviews and give their sides of the story, I mean, honestly, man, all you did is put a target on your back. You didn't need to. I don't get the juvenile aspect of it. I really don't. We're all creators, or a lot of us are creators. We're making books. We're moving forward. We're doing stuff. Kings are doing their thing very well, despite what people want to say. Smaller creators are doing their thing. We're all adjusting to the way that campaigns are going now. And campaigns of yesteryear are not campaigns of today. Reaper Destroyer did $18,000 in like 40 minutes or something, a Michael Bancroft show in May 15th, 2020, May 14th of 2020. 2022, sorry. I don't expect that to happen again. We have a completely different scenario now in life. We have an economy that is expensive to live in. We have the tribal aspect of backers now that refuse to back certain people for whatever reasons. So you got to adjust your thinking on what you think you're going to raise in crowdfunding. It's much more of a slow burn in my mind now than it is this big display, and we're going to these astronomical numbers. That's one thing to keep in mind. And so when you drum up all this drama, that's just going to hurt everything again. There are going to be people that might have been loosening up to certain things because the drama had passed. There wasn't a lot of shit happening. But now it's just going to make people go all to their corners. And that was caused by Elasmat and his documentary. That's who caused it. I just want you to remember that. When the response come from Ethan and John Shane, and they already have and they will, just remember that it started because of the documentary that didn't need to happen, that nobody asked for. So when you sit here and wonder, like, oh, why is everybody fighting again? Why is this person, bringing up this? Why are these DMs being leaked now? It's because of this. I know a lot of people are going to try to blame the Kings again because it absolutely was a hit piece against the Kings, regardless of what you want to say. And I know I have people in the chat that are on both sides of this. So I'm trying to be very vague in what I'm saying, what I'm discussing here. But this is just me putting my thoughts out there, and you take it how you will. You do what you want with it. But I would much rather us come together more and get the community strong again than continue pushing us farther. But there seems to be a lot of people out there that just want to continue that divide. And I see it in comments. I saw the comments, and I have a different perspective because I was someone that kind of tried to stay out of the drama as much as possible. And then I became a king, and I saw the pushback, and I saw the instant attacks from War Campaign and everybody else that just because the name, I carried the name, and the people I hung out with were out there. Now I see all these people. I see them in the comments all the time. I see the people that used to follow me that are now in the comments of everybody's anti-CG. If that's what you want to call it, names get thrown around. I don't really care. People are going to get offended by the names. Let me bring this up real quick. If you can read this, I got to give a shout out to the Don. By the way, Saturdays at 7 p.m. the studio over on the Don's channel. Go check that out. Good show, good art, good conversation, fun guys. He brought up this fact, and this is very much what I've been thinking. Don says, hit piece, not a documentary. It's right there in the description. If you guys bring this up, he highlights this. He says, this documentary presents the death knell of the Comicsgate movement and why John Mayall and Shane Davis and ultimately Ethan Van Sciver resorted to the tactics they used to drive away a group. Driveway? Like drive? Okay. Of well-liked creators and their fan base. I know some people believe that, and then, when it comes to that drama, believe whatever you want. Here's the thing about the documentary. If you wanted to make a true documentary about the Tampa Bay Comic-Con, and you wanted to talk about the Dungeoneer situation and all the drama that happened after that, then you should have reached out to Ethan, John, Shane, Mandy, and whoever else was involved to give their perspective on it. Because if you want to do a true documentary to try to get to the truth, and then you let the fans, the people that watch it, decide where they're going with it, you involve everybody. This documentary was from one source, from one perspective, and one narrative from the get-go. It's an absolute hit piece, which is why it was utter garbage. And anybody that's sitting there championing this thing as some great piece, I don't understand it. Because you're not really looking for truth. You know, maybe you think you know it because you talk to people that know things, that they have firsthand knowledge or secondhand knowledge or thirdhand knowledge or whatever, and you just fall in line and you believe that stuff. But you're not really looking for the perspectives. I have a chance to know a few different sides of this from where I sit. And I have to say, there's no innocent people here. You can't just point the finger and say, oh, it was all them or it was all them. Things happen. Things get said. A lot of this stuff that has been said could probably be worked out if people wanted to work it out. I don't think anything is so far gone that this is just the way it's going to be. But you should have had those guys on to tell their story. So you do a documentary like this. You have this person talk, and this is their account of the situation. And then you have the other people talk, and that's their account of the situation. And then you show different proofs that you can find through investigation that lay a better picture out for the people watching it to make a better decision. That's what you should do. Instead, this was an absolute hit piece. 3 hours is absolute just droning on garbage from one side. That's it. And pick whatever side, man. Like I said, I'm not here to shit on the Dungeoneers. There's a lot of people I still like, people I support all over the place. People that know me know this about me. And that's not going to change. But I don't see anything good coming from this. Thank you for joining me. I appreciate you all. Go back, books. Be good to each other. Take care of one another. And as always, picture me naked. Talk to y'all later. Peace.